Welcome to Nerd Positive. This is a Facebook and YouTube live podcast show that celebrates all the things that we feel are awesome in hopes of spreading our fandom to you. After the live show airs, you can find the show on Spotify, Apple, and anywhere you find audio podcasts just a little bit later. In the show, we dive deep into the heart and celebrate the things we love. From sci-fi to fantasy, movies to TV shows, comics to video games, we explore the universes that have captured our imaginations and made us lifelong fans. Each week, we'll take you on a journey through the realms of awesomeness. Expect passionate discussions, in-depth analyses, things under the bed, and many, many side quests. So whether you're a die-hard yippee-ki-yay mother enthusiast or just dipping your toes in the fandom waters, Nerd Positive is the place to be. I'm the host, the self-proclaimed emperor of awesome, Bradley Buchanan. And with me every week, I have the unverified twin of Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the eyebrows, the unverified twin of Dave Batista in the head wrinkles, the unverified twin of Carl Weathers in the mustache,
the flavor saver,
and the unverified twin of Shamar Moore in the nipples. She's laughing.
Of course she is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what is up? My name is Brian S. Dennis, the unverified people's champ, and this week the S stands for bye.
LFG.
Yes, sir. Dude, that we have our first cameo of today. Let's knock it out. But dude, we have so much to unpack this week. Let's get it.
Go ahead. Do you want to just laugh in the microphone, or do you want to talk to Brian?
Sure. Don't steal too many strawberries. I'm making them for chocolate covered strawberries. Hopefully Honey didn't get the rest of them.
Honey, the cat, the shitty.
We don't say that word here.
Okay.
Hi, Princess Leia.
What
How
word?
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Thank you for joining us with our kickoff to the podcast and for having such cool strawberries that your dad is eating all of them.
Yeah. Do you want to see them? I cut them.
I would love to see them.
Beautiful.
Not well. How are you gonna cut them up? They're supposed to be whole for chocolate covered strawberries, though.
Well, I'm cutting them up because we're gonna make chocolate covered strawberries. It's like my go-to dessert.
All right. Well, I will let you have your chocolate covered strawberries, but let me talk to your dad, okay?
Okay, that's good because he's rubbing all over him because he has to go potty.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye. Don't get drunk.
I'm not gonna get drunk off one beer, kid.
She loves her dad. She's checking it. Yeah, the beard has to be the size of your head, I think. Yeah.
And I'm for that. I feel like that's a challenge that I wouldn't mind taking on.
Oktoberfest is not that far away, bro.
If somebody would come up with face bottles of beer, I would buy one. I really would.
That's a good idea.
Right?
There's some liability, I think, when people driving inebriated, but that's a good idea.
I mean, you call it, get this, shit-faced. Shit-faced.
Sir.
Yeah. Dude.
Sir.
I love it.
You got to find a bar and like make that happen. Sir.
I agree.
That is fantastic. All right, my friend.
Oh, man.
Let's jump into it, bro.
Let's get into our shows of the week, and then let's get right into the Deadpool and Wolverine talk.
Right.
I think it's probably safe to say both of our movies of the week is Deadpool, Wolverine. Yeah.
Absolutely. Shows of the week. I've started Criminal Minds since we talk about the unverified twins tomorrow more in the nipples. I actually started Criminal Minds the other day from episode 1, and the show holds up fantastic. You ever looking for that's a cool binge? It's on like multiple platforms.
Yeah.
Check out Criminal Minds. Pre Hoshner going Hoshner, pre Shamar Moore going to SWAT. Very, very cool show. And it's one of those shows similar to Law and Order that when you see the earlier episodes, you go, oh, and you see people before they were as famous as they are now. So really good show with that. And as always, House of the Dragon continues to be up there, really, really good. And Bradley, we're only about 2 weeks away from the final season of Umbrella Academy. So that looks really awesome.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that. Vox Machina comes back in next month too.
Nice.
Yes, there's a trailer under for South San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay.
I load up or anything like that. And then there's some other stuff popping up. Rings of Power season 2.
Oh,
we'll
sweet, of course.
But yes, man. The only thing I got to add is Brian knows I'm a very, very for what he called. Okay, Big Brother, man. I am a huge Big Brother fan.
You are the little brother fanboy for Big Brother. You really are. You really are.
I will wear that badge with
so
honor,
good, bro.
my friend.
So good.
That's right. And since you're my tag team partner, let's talk a little bit wrestling because it is impossible for us to do an episode without.
We got to throw a little wrestling. Got to throw a little wrestling out there. So here's what we're gonna do. So next Saturday we record on Sunday, so we're 6 days away from the biggest event of the summer. It is SummerSlam, WWE's second biggest pay-per-view, and this one is stacking to be one heck of a card. They've only got 7 publicized matches. We'll probably get maybe 1 or 2 more on either Raw tomorrow night or SmackDown this coming Friday night. But honestly, with the 7 that they have, other than SmackDown is SummerSlam is a longer show, similar to WrestleMania. It's probably meant to be close to a 4-hour pay-per-view. So my guess is we're going to get more than 7 matches. But the 7 they've got are, I think, super solid. So we're going to go through the card, and I have my predictions written down. I'm going to get yours. Then next week after the pay-per-view, we'll see how we did. So let's rock them out a little bit. So first matchup. And pretty much all but one of these matches is a title match. So the first match is for the Men's World Heavyweight Champion. So you have El Campeon, member of the Judgment Day for now, Damian Priest defending against the King General, King of the Ring Gunther, who won the King of the Ring tournament a few months back, and that gives him a title shot at SummerSlam. So, my friend, who do you see? Do you see Priest retaining, or do you see Gunther becoming the World Heavyweight Champion?
So I'm going to do it like we did last time. I'll say who I want, and I think then I'll say
who you want, who you think. Yes, so who do you want, number one?
Who do I want? I want Priest to retain. Okay. I love what they're doing with Priest's character.
Okay.
But I think Gunther's going to take it.
All right. I agree with you. I would love it if Priest retained because I think there's some additional things they could do with the Judgment Day and that arc continually to develop. But I do think Gunther is going to win it for no other reason than since his debut on the main roster, he's only been pinned once, and that was Sammy at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Gunther doesn't lose, and I could see maybe there's something hinky that happens in that match, but it looks like right now that's where we're gonna get. And the other part of it is I think at some point we're going to get what is play into what I'm going to mention later on. But I think the dynamics work long term for Gunther to be champion. So we're going to go. So you're going Gunther. I am going Gunther, even though we both want Damian Priest to retain.
I think Judgment Day might be turning on him at SummerSlam.
I think we could see something like that, or possibly see the seeds. The other thing that could happen is, even though I don't like when they're in title matches, for the champion to lose, he's got to be pinned or submitted. Maybe something happens where Gunther wins the match by DQ, so he wins the match and Priest retains. We'll know a lot because I believe that's probably going to be the first match of the pay-per-view. So I think we'll see the tone set really quickly. Next up, now we're running to SmackDown, we have the WWE Women's Champion Bayley defending against the Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax. What are your thoughts on this one, sir? Who do you want? Who do you think?
Man, I want Bayley to retain, but I think Nia Jax is going to take it because I think they're going to end up being a Tiffany Nia thing going on.
I agree on who will win in Nia, but I also got to say I think Nia is who I want. Not only do I think she's going to win, she's definitely who I want to win. I really have enjoyed Bayley's championship run. Bayley's been champion for a little bit now. She's been multiple champion. The Damage Control faction is now on Raw. That was so much of why she was champion before. And you mentioned with Tiffany Stratton, Tiffany's actually becoming pretty popular.
She is.
Similar to Rhea Ripley, is that she's meant to be a heel, but people really dig her. So I think we could be seeing the seas laid for Nia and Tiffany doing a split and Tiffany turning babyface. So far we've both agreed. Now, our personal favorite member of the women's roster, the one, the only, the Eradicator, the original Nightmare before Cody, Rhea Ripley. She is challenging Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. Back to Raw. By the way, did you notice Rhea had a bit of an upgrade during her time on the shelf there, which is almost China-esque with some changes.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
I am.
And Rhea, there's only 2 words for you. Thank you. All right. So with that, the other would have worked as well. I get. Okay, we're not gonna go there. All right. So who you got, bro? Who do you want to win versus who you think will win? Liv defending against Rhea.
Man, I don't think the Liv and Rhea thing is done yet. And I don't think they're gonna give Rhea back her title that easy. I want Rhea to win, but I think Liv's gonna win.
All right. I both want and think Liv will win. Same logic behind it. I don't think the story arc is done. And I think the whole deal, here's what I think is going to happen. So we saw at the end of Raw, or near the end of Raw, Dom basically going off on Liv and him and Rhea making up and Liv leaving in tears. And Liv, thank you again for the shorts. That became his own gift really quickly after Raw. It became the thing of Raw. So we talked a lot about the Judgment Day faction, what's going to happen. Here's what I think we do. I think what we do is we actually have Liv lead the Judgment Day. Rhea lead the Judgment Day at SummerSlam. I see Liv retaining thanks to Dominic's interference. That reinforces Dom as a heel, reinforces Liv as a heel. It completely makes Rhea not only a baby face, but probably lays a seed on her leaving the Judgment Day. So I think we're going to get Liv retaining on next Saturday. All right, back to SmackDown, sir. We have Cody Rhodes defending his undisputed WWE Championship against the man that I acknowledge as not my tribal chief. There's only one. But Solo Sikoa, who's the current leader of the Bloodline. And by the way, I'm actually digging the new Bloodline. Now they have Jacob Fatu. It was looking like Bloodline on Wish there for a minute, but Jacob Fatu has given them some legitimacy. The man, I mean, he basically has a similar skill set. If Tiffany Stratton and Jey Uso's moveset were put together, you have Jacob Fatu. I mean, his moonsault, which is that jumping moonsault, very similar to what Tiffany Stratton does, at his size, is incredible. With that being said, though, Cody versus Solo, who do you want to win? Who you think's gonna win?
I think Cody's gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
I want Cody to win.
Yes.
But here's a caveat. I think Roman is gonna screw Solo Sikoa out of it.
I think this is where we get the return of Roman, whether he's physically there, whether we hear that theme music, whether he does something on the Videotron. We've not seen Roman since SummerSlam, so we're getting close to 4 months without Roman Reigns by the time the pay-per-view occurs. They've done all the things. They've taken out Jimmy Uso. Jay went to Raw. They took out the wise man. They've done all the disrespect, all the things to openly challenge with the Olafala, the tribal necklace that Solo now has. So, and they built an actual full bloodline with the 4 members. I think step 1 is someone from the previous bloodline. My guess is that it is Roman. Maybe it's Jimmy, but I think we get the return of someone, and I think having it be Roman makes perfect sense. So, and the other reason is also I think Solo is doing some of the best stuff we've seen him doing it, but Cody's not dropping the title to Solo Sikoa. He's just not. He's just not. All right. Next up, our boy LA Knight, will be challenging in a long overdue match. I told you that back when we were doing the prep for WrestleMania, this is what I thought this match should have been at WrestleMania, not against AJ Styles. The match with AJ was a good match, but this is the match that I wanted at WrestleMania. We're getting at a SummerSlam. Logan Paul, the United States champion, defending against LA Knight. Because you have to say, we say his name. Who do you want to win versus who do you see winning?
I want LA Knight, to win.
Sir.
I don't think he's going to win. I think Logan Paul is going to retain.
All right. So this will be the first one that we disagree on. I think again, Logan's held the belt since 2023. He's had some really good title defenses. I think it's time for LA Knight. He is one of the most popular people on the roster. Has a lot of that initial run that Stone Cold got. People that couldn't wait to see him. This is like an old school. You got the popular crap talking, smack talking babyface versus the heel, the good looking kind of cowardly and entitled heel. It's time. And I think there's things you can do with Logan without the belt. And I think this is moving LA up the roster by giving the title. So we're going to disagree. I got LA Knight. You've got Logan Paul. The mid-card title match back to Raw, the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker in a rematch. So Sami surprised a lot of people, including me, by retaining against Braun Breaker at Money in the Bank. He's now got a rematch. Breaker has his rematch against Sami. Who do you want to win? Who do you think is going to win?
I want Sami to win and retain, but
you love Sami. You love Sami Zayn.
But man, I think this is Breaker's time. Yep. I think it's Breaker. I think it's going to be Breaker.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also like Sami, but it's time for Braun. I mean, he's done everything since being pulled up to the main roster to set himself apart. He's probably currently the next crop of NXT people that came up. He's probably been the most successful on the roster. Him and Tiffany probably right there together. He's been the most successful male superstar. And yes, I agree. It's time for him to not cash in for Money in the Bank, but it's time for him to beat Sami. And Sami's strong suit is selling. He will sell like a boss for Breaker. Breaker will look like a world beater. And he'll probably have to beat Sami Zayn down a couple times to actually get him to stay down. I see it taking multiple spears, but I do think we have Braun Breaker becoming the new Intercontinental Champion. And then we have what might actually be the main event. So let's pause here for this question. So we've got a few matches that could be the main event. We've got Priest versus Gunther. I already said I think that's going to kick off the show. You've got Cody and Solo for the Undisputed Championship. Then you got CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Of those three matches, the World Heavyweight Championship, the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship, or WWE Championship, and CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, just the feud of feuds that's going right now. Which one do you think will be the main event? And again, which one do you want to be the main event?
I actually think it's going to be Punk and Drew because I think that's the match that has the most hype.
Sure.
And I want it to be Punk and Drew.
Gotcha. Okay. With that being said, who do you want to win the match? Who do you think will win the match?
Man, I want Punk to win.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be Drew.
Again, we are lining up in all but one of the matches, I think, because CM Punk's gotten the better of him in almost every single thing since WrestleMania, including costing him the championship, I think at this point 3 times. I think Drew has got to get something over on Punk because I don't think it's a one and done. Again, I think this is my personal feeling. This is going to end in something like a Hell in a Cell match. So you need something to happen in this match to push it. I also think we've seen smaller snippets with blood. I think the WWE, unlike AEW, they don't bleed all the time. They shouldn't. There's a health thing there. But I think we might see some blood in this, especially from Punk. So yeah, I think this is a match that we actually get Drew as setting himself as the Irish, the Scottish ass kicker, and him winning this match over Punk somehow to set up the next match with Punk, which again I think is going to be something like a Hell in a Cell that Punk can actually win. The other part is which I didn't mention, is remember this match has a special guest referee Seth freaking Rollins, who has a bone to pick with basically both competitors in this match. So that I think will also play a little bit into this. Remember, Punk's interference when Drew cashed in at Money in the Bank not only cost Drew not winning it, but it what should have cost Seth not being able to challenge for the championship anymore. Now, Priest has said he'll give Seth a shot if he gets past Gunther, but I could see this setting up, because I think the long-term plan for the World Heavyweight Championship is Seth versus CM Punk at WrestleMania 41. That was a match we were supposed to get this last year. Punk got legitimately hurt, so that match didn't happen. So I think at some point, Seth will be the world's champion, which makes me actually, I kind of almost want to go back on my prediction and say Priest gets past Seth, because that then, gets past Gunther. But I am going to go back. I'm going to change my prediction from Gunther to Damian Priest, because I think what happens is somehow Priest retains. That sets up Priest versus Seth. Seth somehow wins the championship, and Seth will hold it till WrestleMania where he defends against Punk. So mark my words, Punk is my pick to win the Royal Rumble. All right, so here's what we got. This going through it. We've got, for the world, we only disagreed on 2 matches. I've got Damian Priest retaining. You've got Damian Priest losing to Gunther. I'm okay with either one of those results. We both have Nia Jax winning. We both have Liv Morgan winning. We both have Cody retaining. The other match we disagree on. LA Knight is my prediction to win the the United States Championship. You've got Logan Paul retaining. We both have Braun Breaker becoming the Intercontinental Champion versus Sami Zayn. And we both got Drew McIntyre. And I think this has been an awesome feud, but legitimately just for some type of like reward for really carrying this feud, because Punk was injured. They got Drew. I'm rooting for you, man. I'm a Punk fan, but I would be hardcore rooting for Drew McIntyre on Saturday. Just because I think it's better for the story. All right.
Agree.
So now that that's out of the way, there's a little movie that came out a few days ago. Now let's set the scene, because some of our audience may not have heard of this.
Yeah,
this is one of those indie films that not a lot of budget was behind it. The stars are really not well known. I mean, they're both from even other countries. They're not even Americans.
Yeah,
so not really anything to do with our Hollywood structure at all. This is the first. There's no like canon behind this, whether on screen or off screen. They kind of are making up as they went along, and there's been no real marketing campaign for this. I went and saw this movie at Flicks. You wouldn't have even known it was playing.
Yeah,
you wouldn't even known it was playing.
Not a person in the house.
No. And I mean, it wasn't even like when I went in there, like there was not like any posters or photos or people both going to the movie. And there's no cosplay factor at all. Fact, and by the way, it's a family film, rated G.
Yep.
Yeah.
The princess talks to animals.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there's a dog. There's a dog.
Yeah. There's a dog.
Yeah. And saying it's a dog means it has 4 legs and some fur, maybe. And of course we have and it also stars. You can argue she's a princess, has alopecia, but that's okay. But all right, all tongue in cheek aside, we're gonna talk about what, for a movie that already had a $200 million budget, a movie that's already considered a financial success after only been in the theater about 4 days. Deadpool and Wolverine, that will probably be the #1 movie through
probably through October. I mean, at least for the next couple weeks. So,
I would have waited. I was gonna say, just real quick, I would have waited because Beetlejuice Part 2 comes out September 6th. I would have waited till Halloween. for that movie. There's no way I'll be releasing it to a month after, because it's still I mean, they're still gonna lose some. I mean, it'll probably have wound down a little bit. I mean, Bad Boys is already, you can stream it now, and it was a hit. But I would really just, I think Beetlejuice would have waited till October anyway. I think that makes more sense, put it around Halloween time. But I think that's gonna be the movie that eventually unseats it, if anything's gonna be, is Beetlejuice Part 2. But with that being said, we're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, sir.
Yeah, so Deadpool Wolverine made $205 million over the last 4 days. So
Yes.
I think I read that's the 6th highest grossing film weekend, and it's also the top R-rated release ever. But here's
which means
what
it tops Jesus. Remember, it tops Jesus, because before Deadpool 2 and now Deadpool and Wolverine, it was Passion of the Christ. So yes,
and he is the Marvel God. So
he is Marvel Jesus. He is MJ.
So here's what Deadpool is up against in the next coming weeks. I mean, really, there's not a lot of big stuff. I mean, Trap, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out next week.
Yeah.
Really, Harold and the Purple Crayon. So that'll bring in some kids. It's a PG movie. It's Zachary Levi.
And they're also the artists that literally cannot see Deadpool and Wolverine, but it might pull their parents, get you there. Yep.
I'm gonna guess the people, the 16-year-olds that are going to see Deadpool and Wolverine when they get ID'd, that's probably what they're gonna go.
We're gonna go see. Yes.
Yeah. Other than that, after that, It Ends With Us is a Blake Lively rom-com-ish movie based on a really popular book that comes out on August 9th.
How poetic would it be if somehow she kicks her husband out of the top spot? Just saying. For those who don't know, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, who plays Deadpool, are a very cute couple. Yes.
Now, Borderlands comes out on August 9th. Will Deadpool lose enough steam by the 9th? There's a good chance that Borderlands will knock it out for a week.
It depends. Do you think, because you work at a movie theater, have you seen repeat business for it yet? I mean, it's still the first weekend. But so that's my thing, and I'm going to see it more than once, right? So that's going to be the big tell, is how many people see it more than once.
Yeah. We'll go Friday, maybe. Yeah, we'll talk offline.
We'll talk. Yes, sir.
Now, Aliens Romulus, that comes out the 16th.
Okay.
I'm guessing, I think Deadpool is going to hold the number 2 spot. Borderlands isn't getting a lot of good reviews right now, so that'll be interesting. But Aliens is. Other than that, really, you got The Crow coming out on the 23rd, and that I don't know. I'm very, very optimistically cautious about that one.
Yeah. The Crow, again, I would just say, I mean, I'm obviously, people who do this for a living know much better than me. I think Beetlejuice and The Crow should have been pushed back to October.
Right.
Do you know offhand the release date for the Joker sequel?
October 4th.
Okay. I could see trying to avoid that. Similar dark themed movies. Beetlejuice is definitely more lighthearted than either Joker nor The Crow. Is also I think it's Stellan Skarsgård is the star of the new Crow. It's Bill. Okay.
Yep.
So there's it wouldn't be Stellan, obviously. So there's but no one's messing with, especially the star power of Joaquin Leaf Phoenix, and of course our girl Lady Gaga. Okay.
Yep, but I mean, really, yeah, I mean that's really the big thing. I mean, there's a couple things coming out in September. Speak No Evil, Transformers 1 is coming out in September.
Sure.
The Wild Robot, which I think that's gonna be really good. That's
okay.
But yeah, Joker is the 4th. And then really White Bird comes out the same time. Then we're in Halloween season. Smile 2, Venom: The Last Dance is October 25th. Why that's being a Halloween release, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that's if I was the folks behind Venom, that's a spring release. I would have held that till next spring.
Right? Yeah.
I wouldn't put up against a lot of the other superhero movies that come out in the summer. I think that to me would have been that February through May. February through April, February through May, where we don't get a lot of big budget movies. That was where that movie could have really made some money moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, and then we're in November, and November is going to be owned by Gladiator 2, Wicked, and Moana 2.
Absolutely.
But what Twister should have came out a week earlier, because all it came out was Fly Me to the Moon with Shannon Tatum, and Scarlett Johansson. So I mean, but that's besides the point.
Speaking of some Marvel crossover there, especially with this movie. Yes.
What are your thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine?
Oh God, it was okay. So you and I were talking right before the podcast, and I had to stop myself multiple times from saying this was one of the movies, at least recently. First of all, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
So we normally give our beards or whatever is our highest one is going to get that. But here's the deal. It was one of the very few movies I've watched in the last several years that it got all the fandom applause. You and I were talking about the things that probably were most similar when we had the various Peter Parker / Spider-Man that came out. Or really, to me, it was Cap picking up Thor's hammer in Endgame. And, of course, the Captain America finally saying the Avengers Assemble call, battle cry, which we waited, over a decade to finally get him to hear him say it. So with those things being said, fantastic. It probably is my favorite of the Deadpool movies. I really like well, if you technically, I guess there's 4. There's Deadpool, there's Deadpool 2, there's Deadpool and Wolverine, and I guess you can go Wolverine Origins, or X-Men Origins Wolverine. Technically. But it hit on all the notes, and they did what they needed to do. Number one, it took all the stuff, and we've talked about this on the podcast before. One of the things that when we talk about anything that has to do with the X-Men and the mutants and all this is you've got stuff from the Sony and Fox, and now we're trying to put things in the MCU. You got different actors and different directors and different storylines. Like, it becomes a mess. This probably, along with Spider-Man, did the best job of making the multiverse somewhat logical. And it tied in things from the TV, which is what it should do, right? It tied things from the Disney Plus series to TVA and Loki. I got to give B13 her flowers. She got a couple spots in there. It was generally just fantastic. And one thing I was talking about after the movie was it actually had, for Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, both. Ryan Reynolds is known for comedy and some action movies. Hugh Jackman is known for action movies and doing some level of drama. And he's a multifaceted actor. The musical, like The Greatest Showman, they had a couple plugs in for that. The movie actually had really good, they were short, but they were pointed, dramatic moments. When Deadpool is, I just want to matter. And did something that the movie needed to do, which showed the importance in the MCU of being an Avenger. And they've had a couple of instances of that. So you had in Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan really wanted to be an Avenger, kind of as a fangirl. Teenager wanted to be an Avenger, similar to Spider-Man. But then you have this is legitimizing me as a hero if I can be an Avenger, right? And it made instead of when we get in big Avengers news, I was thank you for giving me that one yesterday. That all those things are so awesome. Hearing now but then seeing those things that we saw, and then I'll hush. That fight in the Honda Odyssey and the absolute verbal slang that Wolverine gave Deadpool before the fight in the Honda Odyssey. By the way, I hope Honda gets so many purchases because they took it on the chin for this movie. They took it on the chin so hard for this movie. I'm assuming they had some info on this, right? Because you don't want to get dude, you threw our brand underneath the bus. But
there's a Honda commercial with Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm sure of it.
oh yeah, okay, perfect. But with that being said, the build up to that fight scene was awesome, and it showed them as people where you really got Logan and Wade. That was fantastic. So I could talk about it all night. We probably are going to talk about it for a hot minute. But what about you? What are your thoughts on it, man? I got some questions regarding the movie for you.
Yeah. So my thoughts is I think it's the best movie that's come out in 2024 so far. It's the best sequel.
I'll give it that.
This year has been a year for sequels. I think it's better than Dune Part 2.
Yes.
It is.
And by the way, Dune Part 2 is damn good.
Yeah.
Dune Part 2 is damn good. Yeah.
Dune Part 2 is, and I say this, it's damn near better than Empire Strikes Back.
And the only thing, and one of the and one of the reasons that Dune Part 2 probably doesn't win as much as Deadpool, Dune Part 2 is 3 freaking hours.
Yeah. Deadpool knew exactly what it is the entire movie. It did.
The fourth wall breaks were perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And you knew that Deadpool 3, because there was now the Marvel thing, they poked just enough fun at it now being the Marvel thing, but you could definitely see where a lot of the jokes weren't, they didn't go maximum effort there, and they could have. You know, you could, there was a little bit of
nice
holdback.
Fun there. Nice. I see what you did there, sir. Yeah.
But I actually liked it better. I thought that this was great. I love how
I thought it was funnier. I thought it was funny because he didn't go as far. Right. So yeah.
I mean, stapling from the first movie where he's stapling masks of Hugh Jackman onto his face, and now Hugh Jackman is in the movie. You know,
and then of course the little things like when he took the toupee off. By the way, I don't think we said the spoiler alerts, everybody. When he takes the toupee off and he's got the staples and the strands of hair that Mr. Paradox even actually had to bring up.
Yeah.
Now the only thing was Mr. Paradox. In the comic canon, Mr. Paradox and Mobius are the same person. So I was kind of we get an Owen Wilson sighting. And that's just me like wanting to poke shots at this. I thought everything was fantastic. Please go ahead. So yeah, I agree with you. Best sequel we've seen in a long time, better than Dune 2. And I gotta tell you, it's probably my favorite movie of 2024. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it also they handled the cameos perfectly.
Oh,
I mean,
because you could mess up cameos really easily, but yeah,
and we'll get into that, I'm sure here in a little bit. But
yes, sir.
I mean, just the Human Torch, the Gambit, Elektra, Blade.
If it wouldn't have got me in movie theater etiquette trouble when I saw Channing Tatum, I had my hand onto my phone. It was like in the theater's dark, right? Can I text Brad real quick? I was like, what? So let's just jump to that. Yeah, I'm going to ask you in a minute your overall favorite cameo, but regardless, I don't want to ask that just yet. The question I want to ask you is specifically, because I know you're such a Gambit guy, how was Gambit for you?
I may have maybe a little.
Really?
Just a little bit? Maybe just
Did you change your shorts after it? Did you?
Maybe just
okay.
You know,
okay. There's a reason why you wear black pants when you go to see the movie. Yeah,
I didn't wear white pants to the movie. For
smart
sure.
man.
Yeah. No, man. I mean, I was hoping that was coming.
Yeah,
but
he's been long again. Nerdy inside. He's been long rumored as Gambit.
So good.
Yes, yeah, including what you would do. They made fun of Remy's accent. You know, and I think we've said on the podcast he does something similar in The Hateful Eight. I'm like, he can do the accent, it's close anyway. But the running thing is Remy LeBeau, being from the Cajun country, has this thick Cajun Creole Southern New Orleans accent, and there's no way to do that. If you ever talk to anyone that's really from the area, the accent is really thick. So he did that. I think he did a good job. He had a good dialect coach, but also, of course, that's going to be a thing for Deadpool to make fun of. But when he walked in, I was like, first off, he looked the freaking part.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, man. It was so amazing. And one of the things that it's something that I mean, you don't really think about, but it's true. Deadpool and Wolverine are brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not biological brothers, but
right.
Deadpool has Wolverine's DNA in him.
Exactly.
They are genetic brothers.
They're both from the Weapon X project. That's why their powers are so similar. Like you said, all the things.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
and I, and I feel like that was sort of explored a little bit because they had a very brotherly
Absolutely
relationship in the
from
movie.
getting along to joking to fighting to all the
Mhm.
things. Which, by the way, this has made me think about this. So our neighbors to the north, I don't know if we have any podcast listeners in Canada, but anytime anyone wants to point out that Canada's a little soft, I was trying to say, you know what? We gave you Deadpool and Wolverine,
Yeah, it's true.
and legitimately gave you Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
So yeah. By the way, I just got to do this. This was one of the several laugh out loud moments when we got Nice Pool, the proposal. Oh my god, that was just
Yeah.
fantastic. Oh god. Okay, so let me get to my question. So
All right.
we have several cameos throughout, which you just mentioned. What was your favorite cameo? Was it Gambit or was it another one?
It was Gambit, 100%. The second I saw him, it was like it just made the movie 10 times better for me. And then when I got to the accent, another 10 times better for me.
And they made
Gambit,
his powers badass. They made his powers so badass. Like
in the stick and the cards, dude. I
and
mean,
he did the one scene where he throws the card at multiple people, but then they explode at once. That shows the power that he looked more badass than he does even in like X-Men 97. I mean, this was because on some level, okay, I always thought the Gambit was a cool character. I didn't ever see him as a character I would be afraid of. But like, hey, if I'm going into combat, I want Gambit with me. He's smart, he's charming, he's funny, he brings a lot of charisma to it. He's kind of an anti-Cyclops. You know, Cyclops has got all these great powers, but Persona was kind of dry. That's how he's presented. Gambit always, and no disrespect to Taylor Hirsch, who did what he could. Again, going back to the original thing, we saw these folks were in Wolverine, X-Men Wolverine Origins. First time we saw Gambit live action. First time we saw something kind of sort of like Deadpool. Live. Okay, we saw Wade Wilson. We didn't really see Deadpool. That they made him formidable. So to you, your favorite was Gambit. That one in the theater I was in probably got the second biggest pop for cameos. My favorite, as was the one that got the biggest pop for cameos in the same scene.
Yeah.
You want to guess what my favorite cameo was?
Oh, Blade.
Dude.
I mean,
with the gray beard right there, it was, Yeah,
I mean, that is my second favorite. I mean, then it was close.
Yeah.
It was really close. But that
And there were so many. I mean, Elektra, we're going to talk about, Mr. Evans here in a moment. I mean, they had so many. They had so freaking many. And they did them well. That's the whole thing. They did them so well. Even Blake Lively's Lady Pool. I mean, all those things. But without a doubt, Blade and just the personality, and he didn't skip a beat. I just saw an article where Ryan Reynolds approached him because we got to give Ryan Reynolds credit. He was one of the writers. That shows how much he loves his character. He has to approach Blade and really bring it. Ryan Reynolds, his first action movie was Blade Trinity. Probably the worst of the Blades, to be fair. But now that their roles in Hollywood completely reversed, you gave me a shot in an action movie when I was Van Wilder. They also hit on Van Wilder a little bit. I'm giving this opportunity to come and be Blade again, to put the suit on, and did it, and it was just fantastic. All right. I got a couple more questions, but this one I didn't write down, but this one I want to know. What are your thoughts on Dogpool?
I love Dogpool, man. Like, the Dogpool stole the show every time he was in there. Did you know
the way he should have, by the way? Go ahead.
Yeah. Dogpool is actually the ugliest dog in the world.
I was going to mention that. I was going to say the point that. Yeah. So the dog that plays Dogpool is legitimately the ugliest dog. Yes.
Yeah. So I got questions for you as well, Brian. So who was your favorite Wolverine and Deadpool variant?
Oh God. I gotta give it to Henry Cavill for the Wolverine variant. I mean, it's
Okay.
got to.
Agree. I agree.
Favorite Deadpool variant? I gotta take Dogpool out of that. I'm gonna stick to like a human-esque variant, even though Dogpool is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take Nice Pool out of the pool because of I think Deadpool should be able to regenerate.
Yeah.
Oh God. With that being said, my favorite was Baby Arms Deadpool. I mean, Kid Pool was good. Baby Pool was good. The flying head around with the spinning thing was good. But I mean, just that one moment on screen where he's trying to salute and do the samurai and he can't because of the baby arms, that probably was my favorite. But again, Blake's Lady Pool was also really good.
Yeah.
What about you, sir?
I got to give it to Blake as Lady Pool. But also, like, there's so many good Wolverine variants in there. I mean, because we got the Hulk versus Wolverine for a second.
Yes.
We got all that.
We got Old Man Logan, like you said.
Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
But that Cavalrine was amazing. But then we got like Wolverine 2099. We got Crucified Wolverine. We got Ultimate Wolverine. We got Weapon. I mean, like they gave all of us fanboys everything we wanted.
Yes. And again, it almost goes to similar to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, where it gave you all these different versions of Spider-Man very similarly. And again, they played to the strengths of the multiverse. We're going to give you one or two versions to focus on, but we're going to give you little snippets of all the others, which was fantastic. Question for you, my friend. So even though this was not a James Gunn film, the soundtrack was ridiculous.
Yes, it was.
So this got me thinking about it. I downloaded the minute I got out of the theater. Series-wise, which one has a better soundtrack in your opinion? The Deadpool movies, meaning Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and Deadpool vs. Wolverine, or Guardians Volume 1, Guardians Volume 2, and Guardians Volume 3. So the Deadpool series or the Guardians of the Galaxy series, which one do you think has a better soundtrack?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, because like the Guardians of the Galaxy had this thing where they could take a song that you've heard, you liked, whatever, but you forgot about it, right?
Sure.
And they put it in there like the rainbow. I can't even think of it, but just made it epic. The song from Rainbow. I can't think of the name of the song.
Yeah.
But and this one, like we've all known Madonna. We all love Madonna.
Sure.
I mean, like we all know that song, and it matches fucking amazing.
That and when I was watching that, the scene where you have the Wolverine and Deadpool 1005 versus all the other variants, that scene to Like a Prayer versus No Sleep Till Brooklyn in Volume 3 of Guardians, those scenes, I was literally like, oh my God, I wanted two screens to watch them at the same time because they were both just those epic battle scenes and played to the strengths, and like you said, the music matched perfectly. I gotta give it to Deadpool. Here's why. This is a movie that's an action movie, a rated R action movie, and made Bye 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 by NSYNC, Like a Prayer by Madonna, and Lady in Red by Eric Carmen fit.
That's fair.
They made them fit. I was like, what in the hell? Like, I gotta say that Lady in Red, which is a really romantic song from the 80s, where Deadpool is literally making out with Dogpool. I was like, I want that dog so much. Like I like that dog has got to be that breed, whatever breed that dog is. I guarantee that there's people finding breeders right now to buy that dog.
Make Dogpool,
to make Dogpool. One last question for you, then feel free to ask me anything you want.
Awesome.
at the end of so another great cameo which we didn't mention, again spoiler alerts, was Chris Evans.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out and he jumps down superhero landing, and we're waiting to hear those two words. And what we did not get Avengers Assemble, we got Flame On.
Flame On.
Yes. Which again we talked about this, I don't know how many times on the podcast. What happened in again fanboy booking? We want Cap versus Johnny Storm. They basically gave us that. Well, at the end of it, I mean, there were multiple references to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. What do you, and if something's been released that I'm not aware of, feel free to say, oh, no, but I never already said that, but I'm curious. Which one do you think we see next? At some point, whatever that is, probably over a year from now, do you think we see an X-Men product, whether that's a show on Disney Plus or a movie, or a Fantastic, whether again, show on Disney Plus or movie? What do you think we see next? X-Men or Fantastic Four?
Fantastic Four. They announced the release date for Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay. When is it?
July 25th, 2025. So it is less than a year away for Fantastic Four. They're going into production they're going to go film.
I know they've already released the cast. Pedro Pascal, our favorite, is going to play Mr. Fantastic. I forget the gentleman, but have you been watching The Bear on FX?
Yes. Yeah.
So he is the Thing. And of course, you might as well say it since we know Fantastic Four. Did it drop? I mean, you texted me last night. Did it drop last night? Who was playing Victor Von Doom?
Oh, we'll get into that.
You want to hold off?
Let's hold on until we get into the San Diego Comic-Con. So
all right, sir.
Let's put a pin in Deadpool.
Yeah, do you have any questions for me, sir?
I do. I got a couple here.
Let's hit it.
One, will Hugh Jackman continue on with Wolverine now?
100%.
Think so?
They would have kept going till you're 90. And by the way, the scene towards the end where the shirt finally rips off, the amount of women who were sitting behind me up in the stands that lost their ever-loving mind. And by the way, Hugh Jackman is in his mid-50s at this point.
Yeah.
Congrats, dude. Yeah. I think he must not allow a carb in his house, because that's just not fair. That's just not fair for all of that. Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. By the way, you wonder why Blake Lively hung out on his set a couple times. I'll just stay today. No, Blake, you need to go. Yeah. Take the costume and we can use it at home. All right. Okay. So other questions, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, so we'll definitely play Wolverine in the future.
One of those. Well, this is a little bit more on that. Now, with this movie, they actually set up a lot of things that they can go back and tell. I mean, they could go back and tell Hulk versus Wolverine and all that. But I think the one thing that I want to see more than anything else is I want to see the story of how this Wolverine became this Wolverine.
Absolutely.
Do you think we will get that story?
Yes. I think we'll get that prequel. Absolutely. Because they talk too much about it. They talk, and by the way, and they did all they need to do. So that means, based on what he shared in the movie, we're going to get a Cyclops, because he mentioned Scott. We're going to get a Jean Grey. He mentioned Jean. We're going to get a Charles Xavier, regardless who plays them. And by the way, Cassandra Nova, such a good villain. That's been a lot of people's gripes with the more recent Marvel movies, has been, we don't have the villains that we had. We don't have Thanos. We don't have Ultron. We don't have, Loki. A lot of those, especially Thanos and Loki, because there's so much where those two being the primary villains, and has been stepped down again. Then everybody goes, the High Evolutionary was really good, which he was. Mr. Sinister was trying. I'm okay with Mr. Sinister a bit. But I'm curious then. Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to give Cassandra Nova her flowers there. I think she was excellent. Yeah, let's get to the Comic-Con.
Yeah. Well, I got a couple more questions left.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to move you forward. Go ahead.
You're good. That was my next question. Like, how do you rank Cassandra Nova as a villain? So good job there. Good job. All right. So 2 more questions.
That gave me such a headache. Her power, I was just like,
right? Oh man. I don't you like I want to watch it again.
yeah.
Like, do you go other places? I don't know.
Just
I mean, like,
could you imagine me and her boyfriend? She's mad at you, like right here.
yeah.
Yeah. And she rocks the bald head better than Xavier. She rocks the bald. I mean, by the way, okay, she can't compete with Patrick Stewart with the bald head because Patrick Stewart was already bald. But she rocks the bald head better than McAvoy. Definitely rocks the bald head better than McAvoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, this is a kind of maybe a little bit of a plot hole, but you know, we'll forgive it. But why didn't Deadpool take Colossus, Yu-Gi-Oh, Teenage Negasonic, and Shatterstar with him, or go find Domino and Cable? I mean, the TVA, like you got Colossus in the room.
Yeah.
Why don't you take that person?
Wait, no, hang on, time out. I think I can answer that.
Okay.
So when we watch it again, because it was really quick, but when we watch it again, if you watch it slowly, when they're doing kind of the flashback, when he's thinking that, you know, he's going to make that ultimate sacrifice, the party that we see doesn't actually happen. It's so quick when they show the flashbacks. They actually show like when he's sitting there again, spoiler alert. So at the beginning near the beginning, when he's sitting there talking to the girlfriend, and he goes like he's trying to, you know, kind of hit on a little bit. Are you seeing him? You seeing one? They go back and re-show that scene where he looks like he's talking to her, and they show there's no one there. So so at the beginning, when the TVA comes, his apartment's empty.
Oh.
So that was his, like, the picture's real. That was the last time he got everybody together, but he's had such a crappy life since then. No, that party, that was what he wanted that party to be like for his birthday, but he's alone when the TVA actually comes in. So that's why he doesn't get Colossus or anybody. So yeah, again, because they do that such quick cuts when he's kind of flashing back. But if you watch it, I believe that was the party he wanted. But I think legitimately when the TVA comes, he's alone. I don't think anybody's in that apartment with him.
I like that. We're gonna go with that in my head again. And all right, and finally, we have to bring this up.
Yes, sir.
Thor crying over dying Deadpool. Is this real? Was this a TVA thing? I want to know. I want to know.
And it was Hemsworth, right? It was Chris Hemsworth. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, first off, Funny Hemsworth is my favorite Hemsworth. I love Funny Thor. He doesn't have to be fat Thor, but I think Thor has that natural kind of dry humor. I think there's so many things that they're gonna touch on, like you said. And I really think that now, let's be honest, he won't be, and that's the thing that Marvel has to be careful of. He can't be rated R Deadpool every time he shows up. He just can't be, all right? Because they made millions upon millions upon millions of dollars with kids going and watching their movies. So not everything can be rated R. I think Deadpool 100% can be rated R. I think any additional Wolverine movies can be rated R. But I think if you're going to integrate him into anything else in the MCU, whether we're talking Secret Wars, which they did a cool drop there, we're talking about the Avengers movie, anything like that. And Deadpool doesn't have to say the F word every 5 seconds, right?
No.
He doesn't have to eviscerate people every 5 seconds, right? He's really good at it. But I would love to see that. This harkens back to this, which is really cool to see. And I'll put a pin in my answer. When Thor Love and Thunder came out, there was an article that when the director and Hemsworth watched the actual theater version of the movie, and at the end of it, when it says Thor will return, they both said they were unsure why it said that. There were no plans for Thor, at least for Chris Hemsworth, to play Thor anymore. He thought he was done with the character. Now, Love and Thunder's been a couple years ago at this point. For him even just to suit up again like that, and I think this is really cool again that Marvel can do, is some of the comic books, no one's ever really gone.
Yeah.
no one's ever with the multiverse, with the TVA, with all these things they can do. Who knows? Do we get a Scarlett Johansson? Does she come back? Hey, Loki's still kind of over there with the Sacred Timeline. And then when you talk about Comic-Con, we've got a RDJ update as well. So similar to professional wrestling, when no one ever really retires, in comic books, no one's ever really gone. So you know what? If only they could bring back Chadwick Boseman. That's the only thing. But with that being said, sir, other questions for me, my friend?
Actually, that is the perfect segue into, let's get into SDCC.
It's like we've been doing this for a couple years. Let's do it.
Right? All right, so the Russo brothers came out.
Yes.
And they announced that Avengers 5 will no longer be called Kang's Dynasty.
Of course, because
it's now going to be called Doomsday. Now, we have discussed many times on this podcast about how
many.
Dr. Doom is very, very important to Marvel.
He is probably the overall best Marvel. He is the Lex Luthor of Marvel. He is their best villain that can go multi-faceted universes, storylines, heroes, all the thing. He really is. He is that central villain, that central antagonist of Marvel Comics, which means he should be the central antagonist of the MCU. Please go ahead.
And they announced who is going to be playing that person. Brian S. Dennis, or the S stands for LFG. Spill the beans, my friend.
It is another 3 letters for you. RDJ, which stands for Robert Downey Jr.
Now, you may ask yourself, that's kind of weird, because I seem to remember Robert Downey Jr. being the actual anchor, let's see what I did there, of the Marvel Universe.
In fact, I think he said, I am Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Yes.
And
by the way, I hear the song every time I go there. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And now he's going to be the anchor villain.
Yes.
That will lead the MCU.
Yes.
Dr. Doom. What do you think about this casting? Do you like it?
I think it's perfect. For no other reason than this. So this plays into, and I don't know how familiar you are with the Young Avengers, big fan of them. But one of the things that came out in the Young Avengers is there's various versions of, what would have been Kang. Now we're switching to Doom, which is better. For a couple of reasons. You have a less problematic actor playing. Now, back in the day, Robert Downey was probably way more problematic, but he's gotten his stuff together. And not to make light, people should respect people's right to say no. And if you don't know what we're talking about, just look up Kang and you can figure all those things out. All right. With that being said, there has been long-standing history in Marvel with the multiverse and with time travel that if life shifts a certain way, characters that may have been perceived to be heroes can be villains, and villains can become heroes. And there's been overlap with various versions of Iron Man or Iron Lad actually being previous versions of Kang the Conqueror. So I think if we get where I think they're gonna go is, they said he's playing Dr. Doom. They did not say he's playing Victor Von Doom.
Interesting.
So we have a multiverse. We have time travel. What does Doom wear, Bradley?
An iron suit?
Yes. So if in one world, in one universe, in one timeline, Tony Stark is kidnapped by the 10 rings, and he is saved, and there's all those things become a better humanitarian that leads him to be an Iron Man. What if those things happen differently? Like, I don't know, maybe there's a story in which the Spider-Verse, in which instead of becoming Spider-Man, he becomes the Prowler. In this universe, this timeline, Tony Stark, again, it's been Doom, not Victor Von Doom. Tony Stark, instead of becoming Iron Man, becomes Doom. That's what I think they're going to do. This is going to be a variant of Tony Stark, who, based on situations, maybe there's no Pepper, maybe there's no Happy, all the things that led him to becoming. Maybe Howard Stark is a really big. You know what? He couldn't get over his dad liking Captain America better. All the things that pulled Tony Stark to being a hero, if you remove those things, now we've got Tony Stark being the ultimate villain and him using that tech to create Doom. I think that's 100% where they're going, and I'm here for it.
I love that. I'm okay with him being a different, because he's got the range as an actor,
Sure.
to pull it off. But if the Russos can pull off that hat trick,
yes,
that would be amazing. Now, Secret Wars is going to happen a year after Doomsday comes out, and I don't remember a lot of Secret Wars, the original Secret Wars,
right?
But the way that they were talking, I don't know if you listened to the speech, it made them sound that Doom is going to be very integral to Secret Wars. Is that the way that it was in the comics? Because I don't
believe
remember.
So. I get Secret Wars and Secret Invasion kind of conflated there. I'm gonna have to go back and do a reread of that, but I do believe that Doom plays a significant role, and they can definitely play that particular part up. I also think at this point, and I don't mean any insult, Marvel has gotten so big with the MCU, they don't have to make these characters completely canon with the comics. And I think some of the editorial choices they've made have actually worked out better. Kamala Khan, it was an Inhuman, now she's a mutant. Instead of her, basically, if you don't know Kamala Khan, she always has the same abilities that Mr. Fantastic has. Now they give it a hard light constructs. I actually like those things better. I trust the Russos, because the Russos, between Captain America Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, which are the 3 movies that they helmed, you could say those are 3 of the best movies in the MCU. That, without a doubt, is the best Captain America movie. And you could argue definitely Infinity. Now, they had built up what had been done with the previous Avengers movies, but you can definitely go Infinity War and Endgame are right up there with the best Avengers as well. Definitely better than, and I like Ultron over time, but definitely Avengers 3 and 4, if you want to use those numbers, is better than number 2. Well, most things are better than going 2, right? So, I trust the Russos, and just given RDJ, I don't think Robert Downey Jr., given the send-off that Iron Man got, that Tony Stark got, he would not be coming back if he didn't feel really. So he doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the money. I'm sure the royalty checks that he gets are way more than you and I make in a year combined. It's not a money thing. It's not a fame thing, I don't think, for him either. He's been famous for a very long time. I think it is whatever they have hatched, he feels really confident to pull off something really cool. So, and think about the challenge as an actor, and I'll hush again, is you go from being the leader of the Avengers, like you said, the linchpin, that person that really drives from the protagonist side of it. Now you go and really the one that saves the universe. He undoes the blip. He literally snaps his fingers and brings everybody back. Now you're going to play the exact opposite character. That's cool. My question before we go, before we put a pin in this one, is if they're bringing back, again, the idea with the multiverse in time, they play with those again. Similar to comics, no character's ever really gone. Do you think we get either of the other 2 primary characters we haven't seen, other than a bit cameo, and little Chris Evans goes a long way, and I mean that's a positive. Do you think we see Scarlett Johansson and or Chris Evans coming back for future projects?
No.
Neither. I guess Scarlett. Not Chris neither.
Not Chris either.
Chris Evans. They have a few Chris's, but Chris Evans,
Yeah, I think they're done. I think they and especially with Captain America, because if they bring Evans back, it's going to take away from Sam Wilson.
What about old Evans? What about
Old Evans? I would be okay with that. I
old
would
Cap?
definitely
Okay,
be okay with old Cap
maybe a
working for
mentor.
Shield in some
Yeah,
way, or if Sam, that'd be a great cameo
yeah.
for Captain America, which we're gonna get into here in 1 second.
All right.
Again, perfect segue. Let's just get
Yeah.
into it.
Can I pitch one idea before we hop into it?
Yeah.
I would love for there to be a scene where you have Falcon, Sam, the new Captain America,
Mhm.
talking to his two mentors, old Chris Evans, the old Captain America, and
Mhm.
Isaiah Bradley. I would love that scene. But go ahead, sir.
That would be awesome. But we're gonna talk about for a second one of the actors that is on both of our Mount Rushmore of
All right.
actors, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes, sir. Yes,
His
sir.
character's name was revealed
Okay.
for Captain America:
I've
Brave
heard
New
nothing.
World.
I've heard nothing from Comic Con. So tell me. So you're breaking the news to me. Who is it?
He's Sidewinder.
Okay.
Giancarlo
Yes.
Esposito is Sidewinder.
Yes.
Do you know who Sidewinder is? The Serpent Society.
Yes. Yes. I know of him. I don't know a detail of it. You got to share?
He's a little bit. I don't know a ton.
Okay.
Pretty much offshoot of Hydra from what I'm gathering.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, I haven't done my studying on it yet. But one thing we do know for sure, Giancarlo Esposito is going to knock it out of the park.
I mean, he's been one of the absolute best parts of the boys in that universe.
Everything.
Yes. Kaleidoscope, which I know we both really loved. There's he's on The Gentleman, which is a great, if you didn't get a chance to watch The Gentleman, it's a fantastic series. It's on Netflix as well. I mean, anything he touches, he is just fantastic. You Better Call Saul. I mean, there's so many things that he is in that he is just fantastic in, that I have no doubt that anything that he gets a chance to literally sink his teeth into, he's one of the best actors in our country. And I'm really excited to anything he touches, he is going to be fantastic in. So real excited for Giancarlo Esposito as well. And Sidewinder, again, I did a really quick search on that, connected to, like you said, the Serpent Society, and I'm sure they're going to expect, you would not have, similar to when they brought in Ben Kingsley, you're not going to have an actor of that caliber, no matter what the character may appear to be from a visibility standpoint. You're going to give that character the opportunity to really shine. So regardless of what even the comic says with Sidewinder, probably more low level, smaller character, I get the feeling he's going to be expanded greatly for Brave New World. All right, my friend, what else you got?
Now, I always got to throw this out there for you.
Yes,
you guys wondering, did you know that Giancarlo Esposito will now be part of Star Wars, Marvel,
that's right,
and DC?
Who is he in DC?
Can you name? I had to look it up because I knew he was in something, and I remember he is the voice actor of Lex Luthor in Harley Quinn.
Right. That really, if you don't know Giancarlo Esposito, most of you probably would know his voice, hear him talk. Oh my, that's impressive.
He's also in the show Stargirl. Yeah.
Yes, that is impressive. That is really impressive. Similar to Jeffrey Wright, great actor, great vocal, and I think brings just a voice, literally as well as figuratively, a voice and a presence that I think is fantastic. And the first movie I saw Giancarlo Esposito in, where he actually, one of Spike Lee's first movies, was a movie called Do the Right Thing. And Giancarlo Esposito played a character named Bugging Out. Do the Right Thing is a heavy movie, but at that moment, you could even see the talent that this gentleman has, and to see the career he's had. This makes me really excited. So anything he is, literally, you could say Giancarlo Esposito is going to do a toilet paper commercial, and I'm there for it. Like that.
I'm buying the toilet paper.
Let's do this, G. Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So really excited, really excited. Any other big Comic-Con movie? Comic-Con news?
a
Sure.
couple last things. One thing, they announced what Fantastic Four is going to be. It's going to be
Okay.
Fantastic Four First Steps.
Nice.
And it's being described as a 60s retro future movie.
Okay, it's even some of the aesthetic they had in Deadpool and Wolverine. You could see that. You can see some of the equipment that they had. By the way, the first laugh out loud, I keep thinking all of them make me laugh out loud.
Mhm.
One of the first laugh out loud moments was, again, spoiler alert, with Cassandra Nova's base, and they said, and when Deadpool, Wade Wilson, Ryan Reynolds goes, I guess Paul Rudd did actually age. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And when they do the thing of they lift the helmet, because it was like, oh, that's a giant Ant-Man suit, you realize, no, that's Ant-Man. That was really just, I mean, of all the little things
Mhm.
that you saw, and the end credits. And again, folks, it does have a hidden scene, which is nice. It's funny.
Mhm.
But watch those closing credits when they took the time, and again, got to give Marvel so much credit of tying in those 20th Century Fox movies to the transition over to the MCU, and really talking about these are movies that made money. Say what you want to, but these are movies that made money that give us the MCU. So if you like Echo, if you like Hawkeye, if you like Captain America and the Winter Soldier, if you like the movies, X-Men, Spider-Man, Blade, those things being licensed out gave them the ability to give us what we're getting now. It took them 20 plus years to do it, but they're doing it, and Gamebuster and seeing everybody's coming home, which is so awesome. As a nerd, this is when I was sitting there in my room reading my comic books after reading Infinity War. I would have been like, it would be so cool to get an Avengers movie, and we've seen the Avengers and all the things. So just want to give this so much credit to just that entire Kevin Feige and that whole group that's running it for a little humble podcast out of Iowa. We're huge fans.
Absolutely.
All right, my friend.
That's all I got, man. I know you got an honest ad for me.
I got an honest ad for you, sir, but I do got a real quick, same plot, new characters. Never run a little long, but this one I think you're gonna get. So we'll see if you can grab it. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
So for folks that are unfamiliar with this game, I take a movie that Bradley and I are both pretty familiar with. I reference the characters, but use in the same actors but characters played in other movies, but it still keeps the general plot the same. But I just use references from other works in the actor's filmography. So here we go. And Brad, as always, you can ask me any questions you want once to get done. Long before joining the others in the void, the Daywalker was a member of Future Guardians, but not of the galaxy. He used his skills with the sword to pass time in America while being joined by a Tone Loc-inspired young gun. He was further aided by a lawman who helped him psych out the competition and were kept in good hands by a voodoo master as they battled the evil empire at the end of summer. Do you know the movie?
Are you going Blade?
Not going Blade. So I'll read it again. Long before, but there are some similarities there. Long before joining others in the void, the Daywalker was a member of Future Guardians, but not of the galaxy. He used his skills with the sword to pass time in America while being joined by a Tone Loc-inspired young gun. He was further aided by a lawman who helped him psych out the competition and were kept in good hands by a voodoo master as they battled the evil empire at the end of summer. Ooh, you might not get this one. This will be 2 and 2 if you don't get this one.
Oh man, so I keep on going. Wesley Snipes.
It is Wesley Snipes. It is Wesley Snipes.
And you know the Guardians. I'm thinking like I'm going towards the Expendables.
Not the Expendables.
Not the Expendable. Oh
Not
man.
the
Oh my God.
Expendables.
I might strike out on this one. Oh, let's see here. I'm trying to think what else.
You can ask me any questions if you want.
I'm just trying to think of Wesley's filmography.
Yeah.
I
was proud of this, but I thought you still would get it really quickly.
Man.
I will say right before the show, I rewrote it. So I made it a little harder.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
I like it hard. So
that's what she said.
Or I hope she likes it hard.
Or he.
Hey, whatever floats your boat.
Hey, and speaking of, by the way, he went all in on that TVA scene in the hallway. He went a little hard. I was like, haha. Like, okay, then Wade, do you, sir?
Right? Man.
Maybe this will help. There are a lot of sports references in this. So I will say this has some sports references.
Oh man. All right, read it to me one more time. Let me see if it fits.
Long before joining the others in the void, the Daywalker, Wesley Snipes, well, let's go there.
Yeah.
Was a member of future Guardians, but not of the galaxy. He used his skill with the sword to pass time in America while being joined by a Tone Loc-inspired young gun. He was further aided by a lawman who helped him psych out the competition, but were kept in good hands by a voodoo master as they battled the evil empire at the end of summer.
One question. Was he replaced in the sequel by Omar Epps?
He was.
All right. Final Major League. Well done. All
right. Let me unpack it for the audience, and we'll get on to the honest ad. So long before joining Other Than the Void, the Daywalker, Wesley Snipes, who plays Blade, was a member of the Future Guardians. So when Major League came out, it featured the Cleveland Indians. That team is now known as the Cleveland Guardians. He used his skills with the sword to pass time in America's pastime baseball, while being joined by a Tone Loc-inspired. Tone Loc is famed for the song Wow Thing, inspired young gun. So the actor who's known as Wow Thing in the movie, who also was in the movie Young Guns, was Charlie Sheen. He was further aided by a lawman who helped him psych out the competition, Corbin Burnson, who was up in Psych and LA Law, and was kept in good hands by a voodoo master. Dennis Haysbert played forgetting the character's name, but he practices voodoo. Haysbert also talk about a voice, is the voice and star of many Allstate commercials, and he goes, "You're in good hands with Allstate," and they battle the evil empire in the summer. In the world of baseball, the evil empire is the New York Yankees, which is the team they play at the end of Major League. So that is it. Good job, sir. You are now 3-1 with these. Good job, my friend.
Yes. All right.
That was fun.
We got there.
All right.
We got there. All right. So, honest ad time.
Yes, sir. This is a quick one. Here we go. So this is inspired by some of the things we saw in the movie over the weekend, which is Deadpool and Wolverine. This is my honest ad for spandex. From Jazzercise to Olympics, and even our friend Wolverine, spandex is the greatest hero that the multiverse has ever seen. It expands, it folds, it rises up and it's tight. Spandex defies all logic, come day or come night. The colors make a rainbow. It hugs all of your each and every curve. But if you sweat too much in the spandex, the smell will definitely disturb. So wear it loud, wear it proud, even pretend you're the Rock. But be careful that spandex doesn't show the outline of and that is the end of the honest ad for this week. So I'm just going to jump into my Better Human of the Week because it was my favorite cameo. And for a person that had the hiccups in his life, but he seems to be on the right track now. My Better Human of the Week is going to be one Wesley Snipes from Deadpool and Wolverine. What about you, my friend?
You know what? I'm going to go similar, but my Better Than Us Human of the Week is Channing Tatum because you gave me comment at Comic Accurate Gambit, and I
Yes.
thank you for that, sir.
Yes.
You filled my
Yes.
heart that
Yes.
day when I saw that, and will every time
Yes.
that I see this. Awesome.
And remember, he's not done because, again, spoiler alert, they go back to TVA and saves, because X-23 is shown at the end of it. They saved them from Eliath. So that means that X-23, Gambit, Wesley Snipes Blade. I love it. I'm almost ever going to play Blade. We'll see about that. And Elektra, which we didn't even talk about there, but Jennifer Garner's Elektra, Nachos character, whether we see them again or not, they were saved from Eliath in the void. So there's that door is open for some additional cameos or what have you with those 4 characters. X-23, Gambit, which I think we'll see X-23 and Gambit definitely, but then possibly see Elektra played by Jennifer Garner and Blade played by Wesley Snipes. All right, my friend.
All right, man. Actually,
wrap her up. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. Have you started reading Dark Knights of Steel yet?
I got maybe a page in my world. I got really busy last week.
Gotcha.
I'm going to catch it this week. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you know what? If you could find me, friend me, or follow me at Facebook at Nerd Positive, TikTok at Nerd Positive 1, Instagram at The Fandemic, because once you get through the pandemic, you're going to be nerd positive.
Absolutely.
All right. Brian, where can we find you?
As always, you can find me in the Book of Faces. Give me a like, give me a follow. Brian Stephen Dennis. Try and keep it light and occasionally weird.
It's true. All right, if you want to support the show, there are several ways to do so. Go to buymeacoffee.com/nerdpositive or patreon.com/nerdpositive. Become an episode assistant, an episode producer, a pre-venge producer like Stacy, or yes, you can be part of the con starting at $5 a month. I'm slowly putting this thing back together. We'll get there one of these days. You can go to PayPal or Venmo at Bradley V. Tanner, or most importantly, just share the show with someone you want to make a little more awesome. All right, man. What are your words of wisdom?
My words of wisdom are every week. Thank you all so much for testing Nerd Positive and catching the Fandemic. See what I did there? Thank you so much for joining for Bradley and I with the best part of our week and being good little boys and girls and enjoying your nerddom. So now that we've maxed out, I just want to remind everyone, remember, no retreat, no surrender, and Goonies, never say die.
You know what? I usually say a bunch here, but this time I'm going to say just this. LFG. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.